88% of all Canadian faculty and universities are left-leaning, and 12% are right-leaning. Do you see an issue with that?
I won't comment on that personally.
Okay, but you just said we want to promote diversity.
We do. So we do.
Viewpoints or diversity of perspective.
Sure. And there is evidence, which, I'm not a researcher myself, but there is evidence to the idea that considerations of EDI in science results in stronger science, and we've heard about usability of science and why that's important.
Do you think that if there was more representations of right-leaning views, that it wasn't 12%, was a little higher than 12%, would that make the research better then in your case? Do you agree?
I can comment on that as other colleagues have said.
But you just said that you want more diversity, and then now you're saying you can't comment on having more.
That's crazy. 88% of faculty in Canadian universities are basically left-leaning liberal people. That's wild. But, I actually took a step back when I first heard this video because I was kind of riled up. I was like, that's crazy. But when you actually take a logical look at it and you see what, these new governments are trying to achieve, it actually makes sense, right? If you wanted your society to be a more liberal society, if you want your society to believe in all these new progressive ideas and go away from tradition, then why would you hire faculty who are not liberal, who do not share the same ideas? Why would you ever do that? So this is, even though in my opinion, it's very bad, right, to, do this and move away from traditionalism and, go to progressive, right? It makes sense. This is what they've been trying to do, right? Why would you hire, young people and people who are coming out of high school? Their minds are the most moldable. Like anything that they hear, and they're basically going to an indoctrination camp for the next 4 years. So what better way to do that than to put people in power who are liberal and who have left-leaning ideas? It makes perfect sense. That's why when you see these kids come out of college today, or you go on a college campus today, you're seeing people with all sorts of, piercings and all these things and, just weird stuff. And that is exactly why when people come out of college, it's almost as if you don't recognize them from the moment they went in. But if you actually step back and you take the emotion out of it and you look at it from a logical perspective, it absolutely makes sense. If you want your country, right, the people at the top, if you want your country to have a certain idea and a certain philosophy and believe in certain things, and you want to push liberal ideas and you want liberalism to be the future and progressivism to be the future, it makes complete sense to have the faculty be 88% liberal. It makes sense. Because those are the perfect people to pass on those liberal ideologies to people who, their minds, they don't really know how to think for themselves in the real world yet.